Welcome back to my channel. Today we're peeling back the layers on what may be the most controversial win-win deal in modern political history: how Saudi Arabia bought Donald Trump inside the $600 billion deal. This goes far beyond red carpets and photo ops. It's a story of money, power, and influence that challenges our understanding of post-presidential diplomacy. Let's dive in. 1. A post-presidency power play. When Donald Trump left office in 2021, most expected him to retreat behind his Mar-a-Lago curtain. Instead, he re-emerged on the global scene, this time in the deserts of Saudi Arabia. Behind closed doors, Trump and Saudi officials began shaping a staggering $600 billion deal. This wasn't just investment, it was geopolitics in a suit and tie. In the lead-up to the agreement, Trump was invited multiple times to private summits in Riyadh and Neom. He was greeted like royalty, with sword-lined halls, private jet arrangements, and closed-door meetings with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. But the real action happened in the back rooms: negotiations over infrastructure projects, energy expansion, and defense partnerships that would bind Trump's financial future to Saudi wealth. What emerged from this coalition would reshape the way we view post-presidential influence. Instead of traditional diplomacy, the world watched as a former US president became an international dealmaker, brokered not by governments, but by sovereign wealth funds and corporate alliances. The deal, valued at approximately $600 billion, spanned sectors that included renewable energy, real estate, defense, and media. Each component came with its own set of contracts, partners, and promises, creating a sprawling network of economic and political stakes. Critics say the arrangement turned Trump into a de facto representative of Saudi interests, an unelected, yet highly visible intermediary whose influence could sway policy, media perception, and future US elections. Supporters argue it's an entrepreneurial success, demonstrating how business acumen can transcend politics. What matters most is this: what began as a headline-grabbing announcement was rooted in a careful web of economic entanglements that linked Trump's brand directly to Saudi Arabia's economic ambitions. What made this even more compelling was the way the Saudis framed the partnership, not as charity, not as political favor, but as strategy. In a world shifting toward Asia and new power centers, the kingdom needed enduring access to American influence. Trump, with his MAGA movement and global media presence, became the ideal bridge. His political relevance, especially among key conservative circles, ensured Saudi Arabia had a friendly amplifier in US discourse, even without him holding office. Trump, in return, leveraged the Saudi relationship as proof of continued global stature. Whether it was LIV Golf events hosted at his properties, confidential real estate licensing talks in Neom, or speculative media ventures bankrolled by Gulf Capital, he wasn't just monetizing post-presidency life, he was reshaping it. In Trump's world, the White House may have been left behind, but the leverage it created was still being cashed in. 2. Anatomy of the $600 billion blueprint. To understand the magnitude of this deal, we need to break down exactly what the $600 billion encompassed. This wasn't a single contract, it was an ecosystem of deals, memoranda, private meetings, and long-term investments. It stretched across 5 key sectors: infrastructure, energy, defense, media, and luxury real estate. At the heart of the agreement were infrastructure mega-projects. Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 required futuristic cities, smart transportation networks, and tourism hubs. Trump-affiliated developers and investors were invited to participate in construction bids for Neom, Saudi Arabia's $500 billion smart city, as well as luxury resorts on the Red Sea. Trump's licensing brand, once used to market high-end towers across Asia and South America, was suddenly being discussed for potential future towers in Riyadh and futuristic destinations. Next came energy. As the Saudis pushed for dominance in the renewable energy race, the deal carved out room for American technology and consulting firms, many with ties to Trump-era officials, to embed themselves in solar, hydrogen, and energy infrastructure projects. The Saudis got prestige partnerships and global visibility. Trump-aligned business networks got a piece of the next-generation oil, green energy. Defense was another pillar. Saudi Arabia, the world's biggest arms importer, had long relied on US military equipment. Under this blueprint, Saudi contractors explored co-production models with former Trump defense advisors acting as intermediaries. The deals included drone tech, cybersecurity systems, and AI-based military logistics. Many of these ventures were structured through third-party companies, technically independent, but with board members, consultants, or legal teams connected to Trump's orbit. Then came media and entertainment. LIV Golf, backed by the Saudi Public Investment Fund, had already turned heads by hosting major tournaments at Trump properties. But that was just the beginning. Confidential documents reportedly outlined larger ambitions. Saudi-backed streaming ventures featuring Trump-aligned content producers, collaborations on media platforms targeting conservative American audiences, and the use of sports as soft power tools to rehabilitate the kingdom's image in the West. 3. The middlemen, Kushner, Mnuchin, and the Saudi funnel. No deal of this scale unfolds without a network of fixers, connectors, and quiet power brokers. In the Trump-Saudi $600 billion blueprint, that role fell to a cast of familiar faces, many of whom once walked the White House halls. Chief among them, Jared Kushner and Steven Mnuchin. Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law and former senior advisor, was already deeply involved in U.S.-Saudi relations during the administration. He maintained a personal relationship with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, exchanging encrypted messages and reportedly pushing for MBS's rehabilitation in the eyes of the West after the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. But once out of office, Kushner made his next move clear. His private equity firm, Affinity Partners, secured a $2 billion investment from the Saudi Public Investment Fund, a number that stunned even Wall Street. The decision raised eyebrows across Washington. Kushner had no prior experience in managing a global investment fund, and the Saudi panel responsible for vetting the deal initially objected. But MBS overruled the dissent, approving the payout. That money would become part of a broader fund seeking to invest in American and Israeli tech companies, aligning Kushner's portfolio with Saudi Arabia's long-term goals. Steven Mnuchin, Trump's Treasury Secretary, followed a similar playbook. Just weeks after leaving office, Mnuchin launched his own fund, Liberty Strategic Capital. Backed by Saudi and Emirati investors, it aimed to acquire stakes in cybersecurity and fintech, industries of high interest to Gulf states pivoting toward digital sovereignty. Mnuchin reportedly raised over $1 billion from Gulf sovereign wealth funds, using contacts he developed during his time in office to establish a post-political business empire. These weren't isolated investments. They were carefully curated relationships, developed during Trump's presidency, then monetized after. In both cases, critics argued there was a clear pay-to-play dynamic, influence during government service followed by financial reward. Ethics experts questioned whether Kushner and Mnuchin had crafted policies while in office that were now directly benefiting them financially. 4. Soft power, real influence. How Trump became a Saudi asset without a title. Donald Trump no longer holds the office of president, but that hasn't stopped him from wielding massive influence, especially in ways that align with Saudi interests. In the world of geopolitics, soft power can be just as potent as military might or official statecraft. And in Trump's case, he became an unofficial ambassador of Saudi priorities, amplifying their image, defending their leadership, and echoing their positions on key global narratives. Whenever Saudi Arabia faced criticism, whether over human rights, the war in Yemen, or oil pricing, Trump frequently offered public defenses. In rallies, interviews, and social media posts, he often framed the Saudis as crucial allies, business partners, who brought jobs and investment to America. This wasn't just rhetoric, it was PR. Whether intentional or transactional, Trump was reinforcing Saudi Arabia's image with his most loyal audience, American conservatives. Thanks for watching. If this deep dive into the $600 billion Saudi-Trump connection gave you a whole new perspective, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps the channel. What do you think? Is this just smart business, or something more complicated, maybe even dangerous? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read them all. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because we've got more untold stories of power, politics, and global deals coming your way. Until next time.